thank you so much for your time and allowing me to present this comparable market analysis for you on your current property. As you can see, I have given you a document which does have recent sales as well as current properties that are on the market that are not yet sold. In relation to the ones that I have provided you, they are quite unique and a little bit different, which is obviously very similar to your property. It is not just a standard Queenslander. It does have that coastal Palm Springs like sort of vibe to it. So I did want to just show you some other options around a similar price point, a similar vibe, and just, yeah, like I said, not your everyday house. Ones that I did choose to compare to that have already been sold, all of them are actually in the Mundulan estate. They are above that $1 million range. All three of them do have the 4-bedroom, 2-car, or 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and then they do have a little bit different in the car sense. Your house does have the 4-bedroom, 3-living, 2.5 bath, but it does have the 2 cars. In relation to some of these, they do either have 3, 4, or 6 cars. So Prince of Wales, that one there was sold at 1.2 million or 1.275 million. 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-car on a 4,000 square meter block, which does actually match what yours does. However, your property does have such a beautiful view that theirs did not have. So I believe that's a good selling point because it is a little bit cheaper than what I'd like to be putting yours at, but it does still have that overall size very similar to yours. The Randwick 27 to 29 Randwick Drive, 1.44 million, so we are getting quite up there in the price range. However, we do have to keep in mind that yes, they have the 4-bedroom, 2-bath like you. They did have a 4-car garage, whereas yours was only 2-car garage, and they were situated on a 8,000 square meter block compared to your 4,000 square meter block. So just keep that in mind once we do get to what I would like to recommend for the pricing for yours. Again, all these houses that I am showing as a reference do have pools as well. And then you have 68 to 70 Lady Penrith Court, Mundulan, again at that 1.21 range, 2 bath, 4-bed, 6 cars. So it did have a separate shed situation on that property with a 4,000 square meter lot and again a pool. So keeping in mind we're sitting at that 1.27 to a 4.4. Going off the recently sold houses, I'd probably be putting you guys more in that 1.3, 1.35 range, purely because you obviously do have the pool, the block, but you do have the view. Your house is very new. All of these houses were around that 20 to 25 years old, whereas yours is at 3 years old. So that is a very good selling point as well. Just in relation to properties that are currently on the market, so the ones that we would be going up against and putting you into that market with, you have 53 to 61 Anne Collins Crescent, which is actually only a few houses down from you guys. Their current asking price is 1.145 million. Again, it is a typical old Queenslander. It is about 30 years old from what I have looked at the construction and the approvals. That one is a 5-bedroom, 2-car, 2-bath, but on a 8,500 square meter block. The reason for this one being, I believe, such a low asking price is because it is going to have to be a renovated property. Again, yours is brand new, so it is more of a, it is sold as you get it. You then have 145 Anne Collins Crescent, which is sitting in the 1.25 range, 5-bed, 3-car, 3-bath, 2-car, on a 4,000 square meter block. Again, I'd probably still be sitting in that 1.35 range just because this house is on the older range. Renovation still required. It is on a cul-de-sac, but it is just got the bush view behind. It doesn't have that beautiful mountain view that your property has. And the pool itself is also an out of ground pool, whereas yours is that concrete in-ground pool. So definitely worth mentioning that one. The other one that I was going to use as a reference point is the 9 to 19 Eugene Court Mundolin, which is currently in that 1.35 and above range. It is got a 3-bedroom, 2-car, 3-bed, 2-bath, 5-car on a 7,000 meter block. This would be the price range that I'd like to be putting our property in at. Again, your property is still the newest out of all the properties that are currently on the market, sitting at only 3 years old. It does have that beautiful 4,000 square meter block. The reason why this one here was one that I wanted to mention was because it is only a 10-year-old house, so it is still quite new. Obviously not as new as yours, but is a lot newer than the remaining of the other properties on the market. But it is also on a 7 square meter block. So it is a lot flatter. It is on a better block, so we just have to keep that in mind in relation to where the house sort of sits. So that's the reason why I don't want to go any higher than that, just purely because that house is a little bit more appealing in that price range, just purely because it is a larger block. It isn't too old of a house, however you do have more bedrooms, so that's why I've got you in that price range. But if you did have any questions or you wanted me to confirm anything more in relation to that, we can definitely go through that. However, I would like to sit you at that 1.3 to 1.35 and go from there.